9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Hello, everybody. This is your WWT's PR princess and everything you need to know about All Elite. Courtney Rice is here to give you the post show from AEW World and the final pay-per-view of 2024 for All Elite Wrestling. And there's just a lot to talk about what's happened. I mean, we've had some returns. We've seen some cool matches. We've had some gruesome moments. If you don't understand, you'll talk about it later on. But I don't want to hold up anybody for too long because we can just get going. And we kicked off with some Continental Classic mayhem with the semifinals between Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. And I will say both of those men did deliver. Of course, we saw a gruesome, because this is where the gruesome comes in. We saw a bloodied Will Ospreay. Majority of his face was covered in blood, but he still managed to win the match. And I just have to give kudos to Will Ospreay for just holding on, especially having that gruesome of a catastrophe, being bloody, losing his balance, trying to make sure to continue the match. I just give him kudos for still hanging on like a trooper. And I also, as I mentioned, the winner of the match is Will Ospreay, but I also have to give kudos to Kyle Fletcher as well, because Kyle Fletcher definitely delivered an amazing performance throughout this entire Continental Classic. I do see a potential in him on getting some goals in 2025. Now, who I might ask, I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility. He may go after the Continental Championship. Also, he did pin Daniel Garcia since Daniel Garcia is the TNT Championship. So that's another opportunity he could go with. So the future is bright for Kyle Fletcher. So congratulations to Will Ospreay. He won his match. And also, they didn't waste no more time. After that, we continue the Continental Classic with Ricochet and Kazuchika Okada, which that really delivered. And the winner of the match is, thanks. Yep, Boza, thank you for that, because they did mention that he will defend the TNT title against Mark Briscoe, who, by the way, Mark Briscoe did pin Daniel clean. So he does have a right to earn his opportunity. But we'll talk about that later in the show. But as turning my attention, Kazuchika Okada versus Ricochet. And Kazuchika Okada came out the winner. But that was not the only thing Ricochet suffered of his loss. We got to see an appearance from Swerve Strickland. And he gave probably one of the most embarrassing moments of Ricochet's career so far during his tenure at AEW, and everyone in the crowd threw toilet paper at him. And I don't want to say I feel bad, but that's kind of like the biggest humiliation, and also not the way that you want to see. I just think I know you want to do humiliation, and also I might have mentioned this in my live watch along, because I noticed since the last couple weeks, since Ricochet's been doing Continental Classics, and even on Christmas Collision, they've been throwing toilet paper. It was toilet paper that they started throwing at. And I'm like, why are they throwing toilet paper at him? It's so odd. If you thought Ricochet wasn't made to look stupid, he swerving down and took the cake. They made that man look stupid. Yeah, I wouldn't say stupid. It was just like humiliation 101. It was just crazy. And I just have a feeling it's not going to get easy for Ricochet. But we'll see what happens there, because it just felt very weird. it felt very, very weird. Um, Swerve did have some points in there. He did have some points thinking like, AEW would be nothing without me. He even called Ricochet by his first real name. That is pretty interesting. And also, I'm not gonna make any predictions yet because I think fans know, and I even knew when he was in his tenure for WWE, he wasn't great at that on the mic. So I don't know why AEW continues to give him promos. I mean, I'm happy he is trying to transition into a heel character persona, but look on his face tells it all, and he was very embarrassed. And I don't know what idea came with that, but we shall see because Swerve had some interesting points to say, and also, as I mentioned, Swerve still has unfinished business with the Hurt Syndicate. I know people say that the MVP gonna rip the card up, but I think Ricochet is not done with the Hurt Syndicate yet. But we'll circle that back, and we could talk more about that on Dynamite this Wednesday. So, anyways, congratulations to Kazuchika Okada. And we have the finals, which we'll talk about later on tonight, between Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada for the Continental Championship. And also, this is a bright spot for AEW because we here on WWT Live talk about that they need to have more women's matches. I know they had a match on Power Hour, but they have two women's matches on the card, which that is just makes me happy to see because I want to see a lot more women's wrestling on the card for AEW. I definitely want to see that happening in the run, and I would love for it to continue in 2025 because I feel like 2025 should be the official coming out party for the women's division in AEW because we get to see some ladies in action. We got to see the AEW Women's Championship on the line between Mariah May and Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight. I will say there were some bright spots in this match, and both ladies delivered. We saw some thumbtacks. We saw some tables going through. I think we saw some tequila or alcohol spit in Thunder Rosa's face. We also got to see Papa Rosa at ringside and Thunder Rosa hitting Mariah May with her father's cane. There was a lot of bright spots in this match. However, I did not like the ending. I just kind of wish their match went along a little bit further because there was a lot of physicality with those two. And I feel like the match should have been a little longer. I understand they're trying to be respectful of time, but I just felt like it should have been a little bit longer. And also the way it was spotted, it just seemed very off because the way Mariah dusted the Tijuana, I guess, like powder, whatever, onto Rose's face and then giving her a power bomb to the table, it just felt a little weak. And I know Mariah May won the title, but I feel like the only two good solid feuds that really did support in a way was when she faced off against Anna Jay and when they had that no disqualification match on Collision, and also Thunder Rosa. I really, really thought at least they could have lasted a little bit longer because there's so much you could do with the street fight. So much can go wrong. And I just think, and also with Thunder Rosa, she's been in matches similar to this. You remember the match that she had with Dr. Britt Baker or the match she had with Deonna Purrazzo this past summer. And also, even the match she had earlier this year with Toni Storm. I just think it was really heartbreaking for me because I felt like it should have been a little bit more. I can't blame both ladies on this, but this match should have lasted a lot more longer because I feel like those two were definitely telling a story. They definitely should have been like a street fight galore and took advantage of everything. And when I mean everything, everything. But hopefully by 2025, at least there was somebody that can speak out for the women's division, because I feel like there were some bright spots in the match, but I just wish the match would have lasted a little bit longer. But your winner and still women's champion is Mariah May. They could have used Papa Rosa more than they did. Rosa and Mariah did a great job of building that match, but Bossman didn't really let them cook. I want all women's wrestling in AEW to kick butt. Exactly. We definitely want them to succeed. I want them to succeed because they have a really good stacked roster. It's just, I feel like they need to expand a lot more storylines that are more than just focused on the AEW women's title and the TBS title. So Nigel was very happy that Mariah defended it for the 7th time. Yes, Nigel, that's one of Mariah's biggest fans. So, okay. That's one of the biggest fans. So, we did that. So, congratulations to Mariah May on getting the title. We now move on to the Dynamite Dozen ring between MJF and Adam Cole. And I feel like this has been like over a year in the making, with every sidewalk and trade that you could even think of. But this was a pretty good solid match. Of course, gruesome is going to be in there because both of these guys were bloodied. But they did deliver, and MJF was doing what he does best. MJF, he used his tactics and really took out Taven and Michael Bennett to the locker room. And soon enough, he ended up getting the victory. MJF was a winner. But after the match, because he really wanted to hurt Adam Cole's ankle, we did get some help from not just Roderick Strong, but also Kyle O'Reilly and the rest of the Undisputed Kingdom. It's really interesting how this is going to show, because it's like, where do we go from here with MJF? Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of questions, because of course Kyle O'Reilly, he's reunited with the Undisputed Kingdom, but also what does this leave with his role in the conglomeration as well? Like, how is this going to look? How is this going to conflict? Because there's just so many layers to this. But I just feel like it's not over between Undisputed Kingdom and MJF. And there's going to be a lot of layers to this, but be on the lookout for some conflict within the conglomeration. I would not be surprised, but I don't know. But congratulations to MJF for winning his match. He did great, and kudos to him on his getting his precious Dynamite Dozen ring for the 6th time, because I don't think he's going to lose. It's a signature match. I just can't see him losing. Can't do it. But anyways, switching from MJF, we definitely got to get another women's match between Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander. I know people are going to pick that match, the finals for the Continental Classic, but this was my match of the night. This was definitely my match of the night because it really did show the women's wrestling, and also with Chris Statlander. I really thought both of them did tell a story, and also the physicality that happened between these two, because I will say, I hope Mercedes Moné did not sleep on Chris Statlander and really showed that. And also kind of really giving her momentum heading into her match against Mina Shirokana next month in the Tokyo Dome. But your winner and still TBS champion is Mercedes Moné. I'm going to say this, like her, hate her, or whatever, she puts on great matches. You cannot deny the athleticism she puts in. You cannot deny that, because she really is definitely shows that she's one of the best women's wrestlers right now, especially for this generation too, because she has influenced many people who still are in their early careers of wrestling, and she's one of their inspirations. So I also have to give props to Kris Statlander as well. She definitely put on a solid match. I really thought this was going to be it, but I would not be shocked if they did a round 3, because I feel like this whole rivalry with Mercedes and Kris Statlander, this could go probably a series of 7, because I feel like there's so much, and also this could be a nice opportunity for Kris, because it not only builds momentum for her, but also can give a chip on her shoulder. And especially, as both of you mentioned, especially if she wins 3 belts, how is that going to really eat Kris Statlander alive? Because that would just be a chip on her shoulder and motivate her a lot more, because she's like, you know what? I want that TBS championship. And she's going to prove it. She's going to keep winning. She's going to prove it. And she really is. And also, to make this rivalry interesting, I would love for Kris Statlander to start playing mind games with Mercedes, because I feel like we haven't seen much of it in a while. But I really definitely want her to play a little bit of mind games with Mercedes and kind of really take it up a notch. But honestly, that was her toughest opponent. And also, that was a really, really, really her toughest opponent. But I have to say with Mercedes, because I don't know what's going to happen with Mina. If you say AEW has the best women's division, if you say they have the best women's division, you came there as the highest paid wrestler in AEW, and also you have creating control, you should have no excuses on trying to put over some of the ladies in the division and give them a win over you. Because sooner or later, she's going to be bound to lose a match. To who? I don't know. But sooner or later, she's going to be bound to lose, and actually give her a slice of humble pie. Because, yes, and I would think off screen, she would at least interact with everybody from the women's division, because, as I mentioned earlier, I want 2025 to be the coming out party of the women's division. But Mercedes can't do that herself. She needs everybody in that division. Everyone. She needs everybody in that division to really come together, because I want this to expand and innovate, and also do storylines that don't actually involve the titles. But she has creative control, so there should be no excuse for her to really put her own 2 cents in. And it's sooner enough later, she's getting bound to lose a match. And also, I don't know to who, but also the next thing that she should be doing is main event of Dynamite. That should be 1. Also, main eventing a pay-per-view. So it really is going to be interesting to see. It would be cool to see AEW's newest rock star, Toni Storm, go after the women's championship. Now, Boza, I appreciate it, especially with my client. But my client has bigger things to worry about. I mean, I know the TBS championship, I get it. But my client has bigger things she has to worry about, because she's a 3-time AEW women's champion. And also, she's building momentum. Let her keep building momentum. And somewhere down the line, she is going to face Mercedes. But also, about that, there are some ladies Mercedes has not faced. She has not faced Jamie Hager. She has not faced Deonna Purrazzo. She has not faced Julia Hart. Of course, she hasn't faced my client, Toni Storm. But somewhere down the line, she's going to have to face him. And if you thought Kris Statlander was tough, you kind of don't want to face some of these other ladies that I mentioned, because they're equally as tough. That's why I'm afraid of Mercedes versus Mina title for title. it wouldn't hurt Mercedes to lose the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. God forbid she wins that, Rev. I know. I mean, it's not going to hurt her. I mean, somewhere down the line, she's going to have to lose a match. I mean, I know she wants to stay undefeated, but like I said, she has no excuse since she has creative control. And when you have creative control, you can do anything you want. But sooner or later, she's going to be bound enough to lose. So I give congratulations to Mercedes. I definitely want her to succeed. But 2025, she's going to have her first loss. To who? I don't know. But I also, like I said, I definitely want to give props to Chris Statlander. Also, I'm ready for round 3. I am ready for round 3. Round 3, I'm ready for. So we shall see. But as I said, congratulations to Mercedes Moné on winning the TBS Championship. Then we go to the AEW International Championship between Konosuke Takeshita against Powerhouse Hobbs. And this is Powerhouse Hobbs' first pay-per-view match since coming back from injury. So it's always a treat seeing Powerhouse Hobbs come back from an injury. I'm very happy to see him. I was very nervous because there was a few spots that he had concern about with the knee. I believe that's a knee that he injured. But those guys really definitely delivered a solid match. And Takeshita really did deliver it as the international champion. But soon enough, your winner came out as Konosuke Takeshita. So he is getting ready to wrestle in the Tokyo Dome next month. But it won't be the last time you see these two in action, because I could tell these two definitely have chemistry. And Don Callis was very scared. I think he should be very worried because I think Powerhouse Hobbs might be one of Takeshita's biggest threats to the AEW International Championship belt. So I would be on the lookout for that. I think it was his left knee he injured when he faced Moxley. Yeah, I think it was. And I was like, he just came back from being injured. So I'm hoping that tonight it's not too serious. I would love to see him compete in action a lot more in the coming months, especially into 2025. But it's not over between those two, and Don Callis should look, because as I mentioned, Powerhouse Hobbs could be a bigger threat to that AEW International Championship belt. So it's only a matter of time. But we switch from the AEW International Championship to the Continental Championship, the finals between Will Ospreay, Kazuchika Okada. I know people said that's the match of the night. That was one of the best matches they had. I know my match of the night was Mercedes and Chris Statlander, but definitely that match lived up to the promos, the build-up, because Okada and Will Ospreay know each other very well from New Japan wrestling days. It was so nice to see it. I also got to give credit to Will Ospreay hanging in as a trooper, especially with his bandage all around his head from that bloodiness. I have to give kudos to him for just even sticking in that match. That creep. Don Callis went 3 for 4 tonight. Can't believe Don Callis' family was in half the man car. Yeah, that was really interesting to see them half of the man car. But I feel like they could be. They're definitely a heel strong faction, because I feel like there is something there. But we'll find out in 2025. But they can be a strong unit, and especially with the people that they have aligned, they can be very dangerous. But we shall see. But that match between Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada was definitely a really, really good match. The fans were interested. They kept saying "fight forever," but your winner and still Continental Champion is Kazuchika Okada. And we got to see a few returns, as I mentioned earlier. Christopher Daniels made an announcement that he is stepping down as interim EVP for AEW, because we got to see the return of Kenny Omega, who we have not seen since last summer. So it's always a treat to see Kenny. I know he was a little bit hesitant on giving him the belt because they both have history with each other. Him and Okada have history with each other. But, as his EVP duties, he gave him the belt, let him have his moment. But I'm also curious on what Kenny's role is going to be moving forward, because I know he's getting ready for his match in the Tokyo Dome, but also very curious on what his role in the EVP is going to look like, especially in the first Dynamite of 2025 for North Carolina. But it's always good to see Kenny back. I'm very curious on how he's going to involve himself in there, especially with the Death Riders and Moxley trying to take over and trying to get everybody from the AEW locker room to unify together. We shall see what Kenny has in stock. And also, we have not seen the Young Bucks and Jack Perry. So that's also another question to do. But save that for another time. And we also have our main event, Fatal 4-Way for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Jon Moxley, my client Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed, Jay White, and Hangman Adam Page. And I will say there was unity in there tonight because, of course, all three of them want to go for the titles, but all three of them really want to kick the crap out of Moxley. And also, it's not a surprise we get to see all the Death Riders come in involved. We saw Claudio and Willie Yuta trying to get involved, but security tried to get him out of there. Also, Marina, of course, she's trying to interfere, and she's lucky Willow was not around. I do believe Willow Nightingale and Marina are going to have a match somewhere down the line in 2025 because it's going to be a lot of physicality between those two. But also, we did see a moment of the Shield where all three, Jay White, Orange Cassidy, and Hangman, delivered to put Jon Moxley to an announcer table. And also, he was bloodied in the back of his head down to his neck. And I was like, oh my goodness, he's bleeding. So there was a lot of gruesome points that we saw. So, Willow could be in Japan already preparing for that Fatal 4-Way match. She's in a Wrestle Kingdom pre-show. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Boza, because some of the stars are going to be traveling this week for Japan. I know Kenny has to be traveling. Kenny, Konosuke Takeshita, Brody King, along with a few others, are going to be traveling. So, and Tay's going to be traveling too. So that's also another thing to consider. But I meant to say when she comes back from Japan, she's going to have a match with Marina Shafir. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I know they're going to probably have a match probably somewhere down the line. Maybe at Grand Slam Australia. But if not, because as I mentioned, the first pay-per-view for AEW in 2025 is Revolution. So I do believe they are going to have a match before Revolution. So we shall see on that. Yeah, it was a hard spot that John took. I agree. Well, yep, it's going to happen sooner. Probably when she comes back from Japan, that's going to probably happen because they have to be physical. And I think it's going to happen probably at Grand Slam. But I know that match is going to happen right before Revolution. So let the ladies fight. Give more extended storylines within the women's division in 2025, Boss Man. Please. I want to see more of them, along with your tag team division. But that's a conversation I'll save for Wednesday. But we got to see the main event happen. And also, this is what happens when Marina sticks her nose many times, because Jay White delivered her signature move and the fans went nuts. I was like, it was bound to happen sooner than later, and what better way to end 2024? So it was nice. The crowd went nuts. Everybody went nuts. Of course, we seen the referees get knocked out thanks to his goons, Claudio and Wheeler. They were about to do that. But also, your winner and still AEW World Heavyweight Champion is Jon Moxley. And Jon Moxley and the Death Riders tried to destroy Jay White. But FTR came out because I kept thinking in my head, I really thought in my head that FTR was going to come back January 1st because they mentioned the doctors haven't medically cleared them, but they made a surprise return, and they did not come alone, as I mentioned. They had Adam Copeland, who we have not seen since Double or Nothing earlier this year, and he's cleared. He's ready to go. He wants war with the Death Riders. So, and also, I didn't mention this earlier, but we saw Christian in the Patriarchy. Because remember, Christian has a contract where he's guaranteed an AEW World Heavyweight title shot anytime, any place. So he is lurking for that. And also, we got to see Hook on the other side. Because remember, Christian was the one that took out Taz. So there's a lot of layers to this whole storyline. And Christian definitely looked shocked to see Adam Copeland make his return at World's End, but it was nice to see all three of them rated FTR. We just announced on Wednesday, not only we're going to have Julia Hart versus Jamie Hager, we're also going to have trios action. Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli taking on rated FTR. I do believe they are going to be contenders for those AEW trios belts. And it's really nice because no disrespect to like Top Flight or the Dark Order or anything, but this definitely needs to be a serious contender for the trios belts. And I know with the Bang Bang Gang out, like Juice Robinson and Austin and Colton gone, they're all out with injuries. It's really nice to see rated FTR step in and be a serious contender for those belts. And I would not be surprised if they did get a future title opportunity because I could see them challenging them. So this was definitely a surprise to see Adam Copeland and rated FTR. Definitely a way to end the show. Also, we got to hear from good old JR, Jim Ross, hearing on the final two main matches of the pay-per-view. It's always good to hear him on a pay-per-view and happy to see him back live in Orlando. So it's been really, really fun. For this whole pay-per-view, I give it an 8 out of 10. Because there was a few spots that was a bit shaky, but overall they did deliver good, solid matches. I just kind of wish the AEW Women's World Championship was a little bit longer and took advantage of everything. Because when you have a Tijuana street fight, you take advantage of everything throughout the venue. So that's something I kind of wish that they did expand on a little bit. But overall, I do give it 8 out of 10. It was nice to see Kenny Omega come back, Adam Copeland, FTR make a statement. I don't know where this is going to go, but as I mentioned, after tonight, everything will not be the same. But also, we're definitely going to see a lot of people in AEW raging war against the Death Riders. We don't know. And also, I don't know. It's going to be hard to see because I feel like the Death Riders are probably going to have some people added to this lineup. As I mentioned a couple months ago, I would not be shocked if the Young Bucks and Jack Perry align with them, or if they have other people they can align with to back them up. So this storyline just is getting interesting, and it just swerves in by the minute. But we'll find out this upcoming Wednesday on Dynamite, the first Dynamite of 2025. So this is going to be fun. We also found out matches on the first Collision of 2025. Toni Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo. Daniel Garcia versus Mark Briscoe for the TNT Championship. Also, we're going to have the AEW Tag Team titles defended. Private Party taking on Lio Rush and Action Andretti. So this is going to be very fun. And we do have some stacked cards coming in. So I will probably say I give it probably an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 on the pay-per-view. I just wish the AEW Women's Championship match was a little bit longer. That's how I look at it. But overall, it was really great. I'm very happy on that. Thank you, everybody, for joining on this watch along for AEW's World 10. And what a way to end 2024 off with a bang. It was definitely fun, and I could not have done it without all of you. It's just been truly, truly fun. Like I said, you can always find me here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on WWT Live. I believe this Monday we have our award show that we're doing. So don't miss out on that because we get to pick some of our categories, like who is the male, female superstar of the year, match of the year, pay-per-view of the year, the OMG moment, so much. So you do not want to miss this coming Monday. Also, feel free to check out some of our other watch-alongs we have. We have Monday Night Raw with the mayor, Tuesday night with our Councilman Pharaoh. He does NXT. Of course, I do watch along every Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. And of course, Friday we do Honey Night SmackDown. So we have so much we're doing, and we cannot wait for the upcoming content that we have for 2025. So much, along with everybody on the team of WWT Live. Myself, Honey, the mayor, Will, Dion, the professor, our boss lady, TK, and also my WWT sister, Honey. We are definitely here for all of you, and we just cannot wait for stuff for 2025. I'm really excited I get to do these watch-alongs with all of you. Thanks, Courtney, for taking time out of your vacation to give us coverage of World's End. Oh, thank you for joining with me. I mean, of course, I would not miss out on the final pay-per-view of 2024 of AEW. It just would not feel right. So I figured I ended with a bang, and we are getting ready for the new year. So hopefully everybody enjoy their holiday season. Wishing everybody a happy, safe, and healthy new year. I'll see you guys in 2025. I will see you guys on the first Dynamite of 2025, where it's simulcast, not just on TBS, but also on Max. And it's going to be so fun. I am so excited. I just can't wait till they start doing pay-per-views on Max. It is going to be crazy. But I don't want to keep you guys too long. I want to wish you guys a wonderful and safe evening. Enjoy your holiday season. Happy New Year. So all of you, sending peace, love, happiness everywhere. And I will see you guys, not just on Wednesday, but I will see you guys on Monday for our award show. So have a great evening. It's been wonderful joining this watch along and post show of AEW World's End, where it was a jungle out there. And after tonight, everything will not be the same. So see you guys on Monday. And
thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WWTalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.